certain things that she wasn't willing, or all the things that they talk about, and situations that you're put in, so.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. That was too loud. My bad. We're starting over. Mm-hmm. Take 2. Action. Welcome to Thoughts in a Glass podcast. I'm LaToya.
And I'm Kendra.
And this is a weekly podcast where we delve into all types of topics, life, love, and everything in between.
So grab a drink, sit back, relax, and join us on our journey for the real, the raw, and the hilariously funny commentary that we come with every week. So make sure you like, subscribe, drop down in those notifications, into those comments, and make sure your notification bell's on so that you get a ping or an alert every time we drop a new video, which comes out every Wednesday.
So every night we do a drink of the night, or every week we do a drink of the night. So Kendra, what's our drink tonight?
So tonight's drink is a tequila sunrise.
Period.
It's getting ready to be warm outside, start getting ready for people to go on their cruises. I'm trying to give y'all some ideas so when you have y'all drink packages, y'all got some drinks that you could just kind of, hey, I want this, and have the right names for it. So it's an easy make. All you do is add an ounce of tequila, fill up your glass almost all the way to the top with orange juice, and then you're going to add a little bit of grenadine. So I've started drinking mine a bit, so it's been stirred up, but this is usually what it looks like, and it does look like, a sunrise.
Yeah.
So make sure you guys try it and enjoy. Oh, fingers.
Now this is a drink for me.
That way you don't taste nothing.
Nice and sweet.
You'll be on a little
bit
tang in the back.
Yep.
Yeah, I like this. Let's have a couple of other ones that we're going to come out with that are a fruitier drink that I'm going to do different tequila. So this one is not tequila, excuse me. So this is tequila. I'll do one with vodka, just to kind of give you guys a variety.
Yeah. So, how was your week?
The week has been fine. It's just a lot of stuff going on house-wise. Just all of the things.
How's the gym going? Or the personal trainer?
So, okay. The other day, I worked late. Well, sorry. I went in early, worked my full 11 and a half hours, but I went in at like 3. I was at work at 3:45 a.m. So when it was time for me to get off,
what are you even doing that early at work? What? So
I'm checking emails.
Girl,
I couldn't sleep. So because then what ended up happening is at 4 a.m. or 4:30, I'm ready to start dozing off, and I need to be getting up at 5:30. It's no point.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me get up. I can get a jump start because I knew that I wanted to try to leave early Friday anyway. So I was like, let me just go in. So anyway, I got off, picked up Joshua, did all of the things, and and maybe it's my undiagnosed ADHD, but when I have something nagging at me, I have to get it done. So I have been going into my room and something about it just be making me agitated. So I said, now I'm not gonna be able to do both. I can't go to the gym, work out, and then also come home and move this furniture around.
Especially if you've been up and at work since 3:45 a.m.
So I said, I'm going to get my workout in by moving this room around.
Okay.
So I did that because then I also knew with the weekend coming, I was going to have some other things going on, needing to get a new dryer, running out. I wanted to get my
hair done.
Got my hair done. So, and listen, I'm a side note. Shout out to Nadine's hair braided gallery. Okay.
You had a good experience.
3:30 in the morning. Because it's walk-ins only now. Because at one point, it was 24 hours where you at between, I think, 6 and 3 a.m. you had to make an appointment. She got so many phone calls from people trying to make appointments in those afternoon hours and the early morning. She said, you know what, just 24 hours, walk-ins only. So you come
Wow.
in every day.
Wow.
Whenever you want. So I went in Saturday morning at 3:30, and I got a good spot.
And they provide the hair for you.
Provide the hair.
You just gotta come like washed and blow dried. Okay.
So shout out to Nadine's. If y'all live in this area, or we wanna, if you're in a situation, this is why it's a clutch.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in a situation where your braider gets sick, things, life happens. You can still do what you need to do and make it to your flight or whatever. So
hopefully it catches on as far as I know you were saying, like, if you all are in the DMV area, like we have Nadine's, right? And maybe they have this in other places and I just don't know.
Right.
But if they don't, I hope it catches on.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's an excellent business model and a great idea. Like, there's always going to be situations where people need that last minute appointment or that last minute hairstyle.
Yep.
And if you're like, hey, I'm open 24 hours. Any time of day you can come
Somebody
and get that done. Yeah. I mean, why not?
Right. And if somebody put on there, I want, I don't want to be somewhere with 198 people up in the room. So she posted a slow day, and on a Wednesday at 2:00, baby, ain't nobody up in there.
Right.
On a Wednesday, maybe 3 a.m., ain't nobody up in,
Right,
so you can still go.
Yep. That would even be good for people that have like social anxiety, stuff like that. Like you could go, if I could come, like you said, at 3:00 in the morning on a Wednesday, chances are there's not going to be many people in there.
Right.
That's kind of dope.
Yeah, so
you got your hair done.
Got
you
my
moved
hair
your room
done,
around.
moved my room around. Went and bought a new dryer.
Okay.
So I've been
a busy
productive.
week. Yeah.
I've been productive. But yeah, so that's about it. How about yours?
I had a pretty productive week too. I spent the weekend. So with it, I had to get my candle inventory up because I got a couple of events coming up. So getting the inventory up, I had to make a few deliveries. So I was running around doing that. I had a fundraiser event, adult prom. It was super cute. I really enjoyed myself. I just like the idea of like getting all dressed up. So it was fun just to kind of do that.
Yeah.
And this event was actually set up pretty nice. I don't know if the people that host it, if they do events, but I think they did a really good job. The tickets were reasonably priced.
Okay.
And I honestly probably would have paid more because it was a fundraiser.
Okay.
But, when you got the only thing I kind of didn't understand, but I guess, I don't know. I didn't understand when you got there was nobody like to check you in.
So
it was just kind of like you just walk into the event.
Right. So if you didn't pay, then what?
But then I guess when I thought about it later, I'm like, well, that doesn't really make sense. Like, who would do that? Who would come dressed up to an event knowing that they didn't pay and just like everybody that was there was dressed up like they were going to the prom. It wasn't like a little like backyard barbecue where anybody could just show up. So I guess they kind of felt like, do we really need somebody checking? Like we know why y'all here. Right. So but it was just kind of weird because you weren't given any instruction. So I would have at least liked a little hostess to kind of tell you, hey, it's self-seating, you know, this is where the buffet is, the bar, etc. So we didn't have that, but that didn't ruin the night. The DJ was great.
Oh, nice.
They had a photographer that was taking pictures. Everything was set up pretty good. The food was decent for, that type of thing. And I just thought it was a good event.
Nice.
So I had fun doing that. And then just working. That's been basically it. I'm having the hardest time. You were saying you got up at 3:45 a.m. I cannot freaking open my eyes before 5:00. And I know I need to be out the door by 6:30 at the latest to avoid traffic, to get a decent parking spot, and then to try to get at my desk and get started. I need to leave out this house at about 6:30. I don't wake up until like 6:00.
Baby, you got to do better.
I don't know what to do.
I'm telling you,
I've been trying to go to bed early.
I've been
daylight setting my alarm. If I get up before 5, my brain is in a fog. Like I may be up physically, but I'm not mentally up. Right. So now I do stuff like put on 2 different shoes or like can't find my shirt and it's right in front of my face. Like,
it's too early.
I know, and it's like I'm up, but like it takes me even longer to get ready. So I should have just woke up at 6. But I gotta figure it out because it's not benefiting me to not wake up early. It's not benefiting me to wake up late. I need to wake up early.
Right.
Y'all give me some tips on how y'all get up early because my body is not having it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like my nervous system is rebelling against this. So
yeah, child. My thing is being able to stay asleep. That's the problem because I'll go to bed. What ends up making me get up is because I can't stay asleep. And so at 2:30, I'm like, okay, can we close my eyes? And when it's 3:15, I'm like, you know what? You're not going back to sleep. Get up and get dressed. And go on about your day. Because sometimes it's like I'm going in early. My plan is to go in early anyway because I don't have the baby. Because he'll, D will drop him off. But my mind is still like, okay, I'm not getting up until maybe 4 to get to work at like 5:30. My plan doesn't always be to be there that early. Sometimes it is to be there at 4 o'clock when I'm really trying to get crank some stuff out. But
yeah, I gotta figure that one out. But anyway, so I put this in the docket because I've started watching The Gentleman on Netflix.
Okay.
I don't know. Netflix didn't really do a big publicity push with this, but I love Theo James.
Okay.
He's the guy from Divergent.
Okay.
I love him as an actor, and I just think he's so adorable.
Okay.
So anything that he's in, anything that he works on, I normally will like watch it. And so I saw that he was going to star in this new Netflix miniseries called The Gentleman.
Okay.
So I started watching it, and as I was watching it, it made me think of there are a lot of celebrities that are really underrated.
Okay.
And so what celebrities would you say are underrated?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think there's anybody that I watch other than like. I mean, we did say that Jason
Statham.
Thank you, Lord. I love him.
But do you think he's underrated,
plays the same part all the time, so I'm not going to say he's underrated. You know who I think is a really good actor?
Who?
And I think people really like him as well. But Mos Def.
Yeah, okay, yes. That's what I mean. Like, he's an underrated actor.
Oh, my God. He is. And he has such a wide range. It's so crazy to me. I really... So, I'll say that. That's who I think is underrated. That is not in enough movies, and maybe that's a conscious decision. But
what about like in music? Do you think who's underrated?
You know, my music selection stays the same.
But do you feel like it's some people that should be more famous and they're not?
No, sometimes I think that there are people that are really famous that
so you think it's a lot of overrated people in the music industry. Yes. I get that. For me, I would say so for actors. So watching The Gentleman, and I see this actor in there that I always see, love his work, and I'm like, damn, why is he not more popular? I can't fully pronounce his name. Okay. But it's Giancarlo Esposito.
Okay, yes.
You know who I'm talking about?
I remember Esposito.
So he's the main actor in Better Call Saul.
Okay.
The black guy, or I guess he's Latino.
Yes.
He's been in so much, and he has a crazy range.
I think it's Juan Carlo. Is it? Because I think they're...
Say it. Is it Juan Carlo?
I think it's Juan Carlo.
Okay.
I think it's Juan Carlo.
Okay. But why start with a G? Because Juan is J.
I want to say it's maybe. Let me
ask Siri how to pronounce that.
Okay.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Giancarlo.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that's how you spell it. Okay.
Yeah, Giancarlo Esposito.
Well, anyway, I love him. He was in
He's
Once
good.
Upon a Time.
Yeah,
I don't know if you watched that.
He's...
And I feel like, but he's not as popular as he should be.
No, he's not. And I don't know if that sometimes they typecast.
But he's not even typecast because he has played so many different roles.
I don't know. Sometimes I think maybe it's a conscious decision.
But it's like, if you're okay, for example, Gabri Sidibe. Mm-hmm. She's done a couple of different things. She's blew up for Precious. Mm-hmm. And then she did a couple of, I think, Sundance movies. And she was on American Horror Story. She was on Empire. And I feel like she's had some small roles here and there. No shade to her because I do like her as an actress. But comparing her career to his career, it's no comparison.
Right.
However, she, to me, has more fame than he does.
I think so when you talk about, this is just my opinion, when you talk about whom they are in categories with, he may not, he's not in the age of the young guys of the Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
There's a couple other young guys that are,
I know, yeah. I get what you're saying.
But then he's also not the
like a Denzel.
The Denzel, Samuel, because they've been, you know what I'm saying? So he falls into that crevice where when you see him, it's like, oh shoot, he's whatever, but he's not your everyday household name. I think with say her name again.
Gabri.
With Gabrielle. It is, unfortunately, it is more of a shock to have a larger woman on screen than it would be to have a smaller woman. We, like for, what's her name? Monet.
Janelle Monáe.
I'm about to call her Janae. So with Janelle Monáe, she's a really good actress on top of singing. But I don't know if, because she'll fall into this, she's not the Halle Berry and the this and the that, and then she's also not the Chloe Bailey, you know what I'm saying, the younger generation. So she'll fall into this. I think when you see her, it's refreshing to see her, but then it's like she's not your regular go-to, your Gabrielle Unions, your there's a couple others,
like
that, Taraji, you know, the ones that you see on a regular basis.
All the time,
right. So like even with Fantasia, I think she's starting to get a little better with her acting.
Yep.
Kelly Rowland, coming into her own bag. So I feel like sometimes because the crossover actresses from singing or something else have a heavier name, you automatically go to that person.
And maybe it's just like a big popularity contest, and while he may be a great actor, he's just not that popular for whatever reason. Right. But when I saw him, and The Gentleman is actually pretty good, if anybody was considering watching it. It's not jam-packed with action.
Okay.
There's some action.
Okay.
This is something that you could watch with your man.
Okay.
There's some action, but it's a really good plot. So if you're interested, it's actually really good. But when I saw him in it, it just made me think like, yo, there's a lot of like celebrities that are really underrated. That could, have really good careers, but for whatever reason they're not that famous. Another one on my list is Anjanou Ellis. Yes. I'm like, yo, yes. You kind of almost forget how much she has done until it's like right there in your face.
And that's the thing. And it's, again, it goes back to, maybe it is like the popularity contest or how things are pushed, because when you talk about like these big, the big box office productions, they are more of the secondary, third,
That's true.
On the call sheet. So with that, your mind goes to the bigger name of what this person did. So if you say, for example, I didn't see Breaking Bad. But if someone says, "Oh, you saw Do the Right Thing," he's not the first thing that pops into my mind.
Right.
Do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's that kind of, I think, situation.
On the flip side, it doesn't work the same way. Like if you have a really big name and they have a small role and you're just bringing them in so that people will come and watch it. It doesn't work the first way.
Right.
Where I'm not a big name, I'm the support, but I'm good at what I do. But then it also doesn't work the other way either, where if I'm the main character, but then I have a popular person that's the support, you still gonna look like if I'm in a movie with Michael B. Jordan, even if he only has a few lines and I'm the main star, y'all still gonna look at Michael B. Jordan.
Right.
So it's unfair both ways.
Yeah, it is, and I mean. That's just how the Hollywood works. And also how the mind works. If it's something that's your go-to, think about if you I really like, shrimp Alfredo. But if your go-to is spaghetti all the time, you have all of this plethora of other things that you can do. But because this is my go-to, that's the first thing I think about. Yeah. So if I see a movie that has Giancarlo's in it, and I see also a movie that has Michael B. Jordan, I'm like, oh, well, I think he was good and such and such, but Michael B. Jordan is just the bigger name. This is what they're going to be talking about kind of thing, so.
It's unfortunate, and I feel that way, about a lot of different areas. For me in music, I would say, and this is kind of the same thing, but Jade Nova I really like her musically, and she's done a lot in her career, but for whatever reason, I think she's underrated. Like, I think that the industry does not push her as much as it could be.
Yeah.
And not even in, like, the, who's the other girl? Monet.
Oh, Victoria Monet.
Victoria Monet. Because,
not me know somebody.
Or even, right? Or even like Money Long, where we had talked about they've been writing and being in the background for a long time. And now they're pushing themselves to the front. I think with Jay Nova, she has been trying to, she's been doing her own music for years, right? And for whatever reason, it just doesn't get pushed out mainstream like it should. And she's a really, really good artist. And she has done the background and she has written for people, but it's not like she's sat in the background holding on to her own stuff and not trying to be in the front. She has been trying to be in the front and just not gotten that. To me, in my opinion, audience, y'all may agree, but I just feel like she hasn't gotten that push or that backing from mainstream media like she deserves. And she is an indie artist, and I know it's harder for them, but I just still feel like, but when you're good and you just have that talent, it shouldn't be that hard. So yeah, that was the nuts and bolts of it. Yeah, it is. They're a really good artist. And then but for me, I stick to what I know. Yeah, because I'm staying up in the '90s, baby. But you don't feel like there's anybody in the '90s that was just not giving their flowers.
So I think that there are some, and again, I think this goes back to, I think some of the trends, if you fall at the end of a trend and it's moving into a different direction, you really don't get a chance to fully show what you are able to do. It's just like with some of the boy bands that came at the end of the boy band era. So it was kind of like,
you missed the wave.
You missed it, baby. Yeah. You missed the wave. It's done. You back on the shore. The wave has come and gone, and you still waiting to ride it. Baby, it's done for you. So, because I think about Blue Contrail, had a little boppity bop.
Yeah. But was Blue Contrail underrated or did she just underperform?
So I don't know, because you only have one song, and then you hear now, of course, with everything coming up with Diddy and all Jay-Z and all the stuff, of how when you're not willing to do certain things, they don't promote you, or they don't give you the songs, or they give your songs away. It becomes those situations. You know who I think, and she's discussed it she's had the conversation of Tony could have been a lot bigger than she was.
Tony Braxton. Mm-hmm.
But I think, and she mentioned how like her mom was like, well, whatever you do, your sisters need to be doing. And sometimes where your trajectory is pushing you, they ain't supposed to be
a part of it.
Mm-hmm. And let me get what, and I think sometimes as parents, sometimes you like, let that child blossom to wherever they need to go, and however the other siblings are, that's not your trajectory. You need to do what's best for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Tony could have been, and again, I think sooner than, with the losing Whitney and stuff like that. And she's still kind of like not beneath. So I don't want to say that, but I think that Whitney did what she had to do for herself. Yeah. Right? It wasn't about her siblings. And even like your faith. And so it's just, I'm like, Tony got sound. Yeah. And I think that she was put into a pocket. Yeah. And wasn't really able, because Whitney did all type of stuff. She did the pop, she did the R&B. And I think that they kind of stifled her into what was best for the family instead of what maybe allowing her to blossom and kind of do more. But
I agree with that. That makes sense. So you put this one in. So
I have, so of course everybody knows I have girls. And one of the things that I continuously discuss is like relationships, male-female relationships, because both of my children at this point that I know enjoy the the company of, because they ain't enjoying the company and no goddamn body, but are dating. Okay. Dating-ish. And so I was wondering what. And with, you have your stepdaughter. What do you think the age is? Oh, no, this is the wrong one. Mm-hmm. I'm tripping. Excuse me, y'all. Leave that in too. Excuse me, y'all. Okay. I'm tripping. I got all type of stuff that I be putting into the dockets. And that's not on the docket right now. That's not on the list, okay? So you'll hear about that in the next episode. I was wondering where you were going with that. Yeah, sorry. In the next episode. Okay, so the one that I did want to talk about, because this has come up in for our friendships. Yeah. Right? I think we've done a lot of breaking up in friendships. Mm-hmm. But in your relationship with your partner, because I think I like to start off with that and then we go into friends or whatever. What are your deal breakers? And okay, I'm gonna start with what are your deal breakers? Wait, no, I do have a second point. Okay, go ahead. And are your deal breakers different depending on the person?
Oh, yeah. That's a loaded question for me because, I struggle with boundaries. Okay. So, I mean, do I even have any deal breakers? Mm-hmm. But no, seriously. I think for me, the biggest one would be, especially in a romantic relationship, the biggest one would be anything physical. Mm-hmm. Like, don't put your hands on me. Mm-hmm. Don't, like, and you don't even really have to put your hands on me. Don't be too aggressive with me. Okay. If I think you might hit me. Like, you know how sometimes, like, guys will punch the wall or something like that? Like, don't do that. Yeah. Don't do that. Because if you'll punch a wall, you'll punch me.
I told you, if you lie to me, you kill me. You see? You're getting closer and closer to him.
Maybe you're right. But, so that for me would be off top. That's my biggest deal breaker. Okay. It's nothing to be said after that because I just can't. I instantly become uncomfortable and I can't be comfortable around you. Right. Now, I'm not saying that a man can't be aggressive. Or can't, when I say aggressive, I mean sometimes men and women too, but I mean, I've never dated a woman. So sometimes men can speak aggressively or just act in anger and be angry. And I understand that. But go for a walk, go for a drive, go outside. Right. Do what you have to do to regulate your nervous system. Right. Do not be aggressive towards me. And while I say that, I also I don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not the kind of girl that's in your face, pointing in your face. I'm not slapping you. My grandfather has always told me, you don't put your hands on no man.
Right.
And if a man put his hands on you,
it's time to go.
That's it.
Time to go.
And so, like, even as a kid, I never, like, fought, especially, like, I never play fought, period. But especially with boys. Like, we not play fighting.
Right.
Because you don't even know your own strength.
Right.
I don't know what you're going to do to me once that adrenaline starts flowing.
Right.
You think you just doing a little tap, and next thing you know, I got a black eye.
Right.
I don't
care who if we playing or not. Don't touch my face.
Or anything, you know, like, oh, I was just, you know, I don't know, trying to put you in a wrestling move. Now you done took my arm out the socket. Like,
first of all, we're too old for that.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you know, when you're younger, like horse playing.
Yeah.
I never did that. I don't play fight now. Like, that for me would be the biggest one. Like, any kind of physical aggression, that's a deal breaker for me. Most everything else, depending on the person, we could probably work through, talk about. Even, I'm going to be honest. Okay, if I'm dating, then infidelity is a deal breaker. But in my marriage, I cannot sit up here and honestly say that infidelity would be a deal breaker.
Right.
It's definitely going to be something we talk about.
Right.
It's definitely going to be something that we, you know,
we got to go to therapy.
We're going to have to go to therapy. We're going to have to work through it. If the infidelity happened on either side, but since it's my deal breaker, I'm going to say the infidelity happened on his side. If the infidelity happens and he comes back to me and he's saying he wants to be in a relationship, he wants to stay in the marriage, then we're going to have to do a lot of work to figure out why you felt like you needed to do that.
Right.
What happened? Was there an outside child that was made? Like, it ain't going to be easy by any means.
Right.
But I don't know if that is a complete deal breaker. I don't know if as soon as I find out that you did something, if I'm gone.
Right.
As far as infidelity is concerned.
Okay.
So I think everything else, though, from a standpoint of being in a marriage, I think everything else can be worked on. Okay. Honestly, like, what is it that my husband can do that will make me say, like, I'm out of here.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, you lied. Okay, that's something we can talk about. That's something we can work on. I guess the only other thing he can do that would be a total deal breaker is not be willing to work on it.
Okay.
Because if I'm saying, hey, whatever you bring to me, I'm willing to work on it, work through it, if the goal is we want to stay married. But if you say, I'm not willing to work on it, then it ain't nothing I can do.
Right.
So
right, there's nothing to discuss.
Then that would be a deal breaker then, because you're not willing to work on it.
Right. I think for me, hold on one second, I'm trying to do this. I think for me, definitely infidelity, because I don't know where I heard this, but it sounded so good when he said it. If you, and this was one of his a homeboy was saying this, and if you would be intimate or cheat on the person that lay next to you, that you in the bed with, and all of the things, and then how can you be a good friend? Right? And so years ago, and I always bring up stuff that my dad said, and I was going through something with an ex, and he was like, when you have friends and when you're in a relationship, if they may say things to hurt you, but it's not purposefully.
Right.
When you're doing something that you know is going to purposefully hurt that person, the friendship is done. You've already made your mind up that the value that you have in me is no longer there. Because a lot of times you won't even, if you have male friends and they beefing with this guy, now you're not talking to them. So you got more loyalty to a dude than you have to your girlfriend and or wife.
Good point.
I'm not a fan of that. I'm definitely like, I have a big thing with lies. Especially at this big age. I would rather you give me the choice of let me choose if I want to stay.
Yeah.
So habitually lying. Now, depending on your relationship, you coming into a new relationship, and that's maybe something that they had to do in their past relationship to keep the peace, or whatever, there are some things that you definitely will have to work out. Because sometimes you bring in your new relationship a lot of the things that you went through in your old relationship.
Absolutely.
And so you're thinking, okay, I'm not going to say this because if I do say, because that's the only thing that you know. Only way to be in a relationship is however you were in your last relationship. That's basically it. So, and it's a relearning of the new person. And you have to be, as the new person, understanding to, you have some things going on, that same thing with that other person. But definitely infidelity, because I've been in a relationship where I've tried to move past infidelity, and we weren't married. But I think for me, I can't move past it. I'm just not able to do that. Bringing it definitely with infidelity, and then an outside child. I'm not built for that. I tried it. And even in that, just being a long time boyfriend, it's a no for me.
Yeah.
Definitely physical abuse. I've kind of been in that kind of situation. It wasn't to the point of full blown, like it was a one time you showed me something and I was like, baby,
yeah,
that will be it for me.
I never want to see it again.
You ain't even got fake. Ain't no apology needed.
Right.
I'm done. And so that's a no. I ain't built for that. I don't think anybody should be in that situation like that. I would prefer my relationship be the way it is, and it's just, we cool.
Yeah.
And it's not easy, but it's cool. It's work. Like, work cannot be easy, but it can be fulfilling. My life is my relationship is fulfilling, even though in it not being easy, and even with two people that have past traumas and baggage and all of the things, it is such a fulfilling relationship, not just for me, but for my children, and getting for them to be able to see that through all of the ups and downs and being with someone, having children and all of the things, there's still love out there. There's still someone out there for you, and sometimes you gotta go through the ringer just to kind of get on the other side. But
I mean, I don't love that though. Like I don't. I know we do it, but I don't like that mentality of sometimes you gotta go through the mud, or sometimes you gotta go through challenges with a person just to get to that point of happiness. You know, like I guess I'm just saying I don't want, whether it be like our children or people that maybe look up to us, I don't want to send out the message that you got to go through shit in order to be happy.
I'm sorry. So let me rephrase that. So
and
you
not
don't have to...
not to say that you have to rephrase it, because we do it, right? We've done it, but that's not the goal.
Yeah.
The goal
and
is,
I've definitely said that,
to not have to do that. The goal
is
to, meet somebody, y'all both on the same page, and you don't have to go through all the bullshit. But at the same time, it's kind of like saying, do as I say, not as I do. But I think we're saying it because we've been through that. Right. Like, because I've been through so much, and now I'm finally getting to a point where, like, things are good. I can say, hey, this ain't the goal. If I could have done it again and maybe came to the table with somebody that was already ready, or we have both already done the work and we didn't have to go through all of this, that would have been better. Yeah,
and this is the hard part of that, though, because... I sit and I have conversations with my parents, who my mom was single, never been married when they met. My dad was in the process of getting a divorce. And it's kind of like you had in every relationship, and this is what my issue was going into relationship. I had a very warped sense of what a relationship was because my parents never argued in front of me. I just saw a happy relationship. Now, having had the conversation and about relationships, things that I've gone through, and them being very much so, which I appreciate, open, and not saying like, oh, we be arguing with this, that, and the fourth. He has said I brung from my past relationship what I didn't want to have to deal with, and so I was able to then have a conversation and come into this relationship saying, hey, this is what I like. You don't know anything until you've kind of gone through it, right? And so. I don't know, you don't want someone to have to be cheated on and this, that, and the fourth, and you've had to come from the gutter to get to a good place. But it's like you do inevitably have to go through things.
Some stuff, yeah.
To appreciate that person, because if you've always had the best relationships, men giving you money, doing this, that, and the other, you've never had to do it on your own, you don't know the sacrifice that goes into it.
Yeah, you haven't learned anything.
You haven't learned anything. So you kind of have to go through that. I think that's why a lot of us, millennials, do things differently with our kids, because we can understand the impact that it had, with, okay, you got to get these good grades, you got to go to college, you got to go to this, and now half of us in debt, can't find a job for what you went to school for, and all of the things. And now, and being able to look at things differently and say, hey, we had all of the same opportunities that you all have, and we understand that it is, and we understand that our parents didn't. So when you don't have something, you push somebody to get it. Yep. When you have had it, it's kind of like, it was great. For some people, it was amazing. I went into the field that I wanted to go into. I did all the things. But then there's other people like myself who, yes, going to college, you can. It's not something that's a negative to do. But now we're smarter that we know how to do it a different way.
Yep. It's more than one way to skin a cat.
It's more than one way. And so I think that comes with everything, right? So we've gone through being in debt, learning that we need to know better about money and stuff like that, because now our new generation, we can teach those things. And so if our parents hadn't gone through skimming, to try to save a little bit of coin, and then, okay, there's a way to do this. Okay, there's a way to do this better. So I think every generation, you have to go through things, because I'm gonna be honest with you, this generation that is being raised now, they ain't going through too much.
Right.
And I don't think they can handle a lot.
What about in the terms of, because you said your deal breakers were infidelity, physical abuse. What about in terms of finances? So, having been someone who has not been the best in the financial area, that's not like a complete deal breaker. But I'm sorry. I would like to be with someone who there are things like that it's not frivolous with their money. Now, because people are in situations, I've been in a situation where you don't make top dollar, but you know how to move not making top dollar. So is not having a job or not having a source of income a deal breaker for you?
We wouldn't even be dealing. So it ain't
okay, but if I had a job, we dealing, now I lost a job.
Now, if there has to be some get up and go.
Okay.
So if you've lost your job because life happens, and it's hard, if that means that you are DoorDash, like, you have to be having something.
So if he didn't have any motivation, that would end up being a deal breaker for you?
I can't do that, because I've again been in situations where I was in a relationship and I used to work nights, right? So I was in this relationship, I was working nights. I would go to work, so by the time I got home, we were both home together, right? So that was cool. Having breakfast together, doing stuff together, it wasn't as bad. And I started working days, and I was getting up to go to work, and you was in the bed, or because he would be out at night as he was doing whatever he was doing. So I would be at work at night, so it wouldn't be a thing because we're both out the house.
Right.
But when it's 3 a.m. and you just coming in the house because you've been at the, the crap joint or whatever, and now I got to get up and get ready to go to work, so and you sleeping all day? Nah, baby.
Yeah.
No.
I have to agree with that. I think I would have to add that, this is what I'm going to say. A lack of a financial contribution would be a deal breaker for me. However that looks for my family dynamic. Because if I'm in a situation where I'm making really good money and, let's say we have a kid and it doesn't make sense for me to stay off from work with the kid. It makes more sense for me to go back to work.
Right.
Because I have a, higher salary.
Right.
And my partner is like, well, I'll stay home with the kid because if we put him in daycare, that's half of what I bring home. Make more sense for me to stay home.
Yeah.
I would be okay with, so what I'm trying to say is it's not a sense of the person having to have a job.
Right.
But you have to contribute. Yeah. Whether that be you're helping me out in some way and that's contributing, whether that be you're working and that's contributing. I mean, as a man, if he feels some type of way about not working, I respect that.
Right.
But for me, it would just be, you need to be making a contribution. It's no way that I'm just doing everything and you're not contributing at all.
Right.
So that would be another deal breaker for me. But the hard part about that is you don't even find out, like you wouldn't even be able to test that until you in it. It's not like I can meet you and be like, oh, nah, you ain't gonna help me, so I ain't fooling with you. You get into these relationships with people and you fall in love, and then you find out
these negatories when when the situation changes.
Exactly.
When the kids come. When you have a hard time.
When you get laid off. Anything that happens.
When life really start happening. That's the only thing that's hard in these relationships. And this is what I mean. Like, it's, people have these, it's about the personality, it's about this. It's about more than that. Because personality don't pay the bills. Personality don't put food in my stomach or in the house, or, keep the lights on. It's a lot more. You have to, it's more than that.
Yeah.
And I can't, I wouldn't operate in a space where I'm with someone and they're not contributing in a way that is useful for not just for our household, because then that becomes a dependent.
Yeah, you become independent, and I don't need any more of those.
I done birthed enough.
Yeah.
So.
You were starting to talk about friendships.
Yeah, so then my other thing is in these deal breakers, and I know that I think we both are a little harder on our friendships than we are on our immediate relationships. And I don't know if it's because sometimes you think people are I'm not saying that they're expendable, but they're expendable, because there's billions of people in this world that you can meet.
Yeah.
So in your friendships, what then are your deal breakers? And then have you had to do a friendship breakup?
So I don't know if I'm harder on friends. Maybe I am. But I always used to say this thing, which I don't think is cute anymore, but I kind of still live by it. But I always would say, if we ain't fucking, we ain't fighting. So basically, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you not somebody that's taking care of me in that way, sis, what I got to fight with you about?
Right.
Like, at the end of the day, we both gonna go home to our own separate houses and live our own separate lives.
Right.
Now, my nigga, though.
Right. Let's have a conversation.
Cause
be at the couch.
Right. But I have never had a fight with a friend. Like, not even a bad argument. Okay. I just, if I see behavior that I don't like, I'm gonna address it. Okay. And once I address it, if the other person doesn't receive it, then I'm just kind of, but I'm non-confrontational in that way. Right. So if I address it and the other person's not receiving it well, then all right. I'm not gonna call you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's no, I don't know. I'm trying to think, like, what would be a deal breaker in a friendship? I don't really know, honestly. Like, what could a friend do? Maybe if they stole from me. Okay. That would be a deal breaker. But then it's hard to conceptualize it, because I feel like in the beginning, I don't even think I would have people around me that would even move like that. Right. I try to pick them, yeah, pretty decent.
I think that when you talk about, especially the friends that you would, the people that you would hang around in the level of where you are in your life, I think you'll find the friends that are going through stuff in their own relationship. And try to spin your relationship, and you won't know, that until, because that's your girlfriend. Y'all be talking about all type of stuff, and now everything was cool. Now that they in a bad space, oh well, your husband don't never do. You know what I'm saying? So you'll get that.
Yeah, but even with that, that wouldn't be a deal breaker for me.
Okay.
Because if I'm in that situation and, you know, the person is like saying stuff and trying to spin stuff, to me, I think my responsibility is to just call it out and just say, hey, sis, all this stuff you're saying now, while it may have some truth to it, you have been sitting back and watching me in this relationship for X amount of time. And now that your circumstances have changed, you are highlighting these areas. I would just say, like, you know, it just seemed a little weird to me that it's coming up now when it wasn't an issue 6 months ago before your situation got bad.
So for me, the reason I look at that in a different light is because then that means she wasn't my friend for these last 6 months. And I say that because even if I'm happy in my space and I know, if I know that, and even if I'm not happy and I know that things are going on, I don't like the way I'm being treated and I don't like the way my friends being treated, I'm fine with somebody also saying, well, yeah, you in the same bad relationship too. I'm cool with that. But if I know, and I know, because you know when you in a bad space, you bitches might not be ready to leave it. I'm still going to be your friend and say, girl, I do not like the way he did that. And I'm going to tell you that while I'm even in my bad relationship or in a great relationship.
And yes,
because we're friends.
That's my point, though. Like, if you weren't saying it before and you're saying it now because your situation's not right, then I would point that out.
I would point it out.
Are you telling me this?
Of the conversations.
Are you telling me this because you've been feeling it the whole time and never said it, or is it maybe not 100% true, but you just misery loves company,
right?
And you just want me to be down in that hole with you,
right? But then to me, that can't be your friend.
Yeah,
because if you misery might love company, but I want the best for my friends. Yeah. So I'm going through something, but I want to still be able to be happy for my friends. If I didn't get the award my friend did, I don't want to be the one to be like, well, I mean, she got it this time, but we'll see for you know. That's not a friend. Yeah. That's somebody that is there for the circumstances and not through the storms.
Yeah, maybe now that you're describing it that way, I feel like maybe that's just a weak boundary for me. Like, and maybe it's just a weak boundary for me because I don't think I would care. Yeah, you know, like I would be like, okay, like, girl, I don't care. Like, because I'm not leaving my man because you mad. You know what I mean?
And that may not be the thing of it, and it doesn't.
But it could. I'm saying it could be a me problem. Like maybe I should be looking at it with a little bit more scrutiny, but I just don't, you know, for whatever reason. Yeah. Because
I'm like, if I'm, because now you can't talk to, I don't want to talk to you about anything that's going on in my house.
And I probably wouldn't. But I would change my dynamic. Right. So now that changes the relationship. And I always be like, oh, you could recycle a relationship. And so I'm not saying that you have to necessarily have a friendship breakup, but it does change the relationship. And a lot of times when those relationships change, it's a slow breakup. And that's usually what I experience. Because as soon as I see, like I said, as soon as I see behavior I don't like, I'm going to address it. And after I address it, if there's no attempt to like try to get back on the same page, I'm just going to move differently with you. I'm not going to tell you about certain things that's going on. I'm not going to. So then when you call me, you're like, girl, we ain't talked in a minute. You ain't told me about da-da-da. No, I haven't. Yeah. I just haven't been in a place where I wanted to share that with you.
Right. And then because you can't, and then at that point you really can't be true friends. You just slowly become associates.
That's
and
how.
So it's like a slow road breakup.
Any friendship breakup that I've had, that's pretty much how it's happens.
Slow road.
With the exception of a few friendships where. Well, yeah, I've had maybe 3 friendships where it was a complete cutoff. It was, we had a conversation. It didn't go the way either one of us wanted it to go. And it was no reason for either person to reach out to the other person after that. And so I think I've had that happen maybe 3 times. Yeah. But for the most part, it ends up being like the slow thing. Like, oh, we just stopped hanging around each other. We just slowly, because I'm not going to continue to be around you for the most part. And I can say that I'm proud of this because I feel like it definitely speaks to who I have around me. If I've ever gone to a friend about an issue, it's always been a conversation. We've heard each other out about it, and then it's like,
and the behaviors have been corrected on both.
We basically Okay, cool. I understand. I'm sorry. I didn't know you felt that way. If I did something wrong, I take accountability. They take accountability, and then we move on.
Right.
I don't know if that's common, because when I talk to other people about that, they're like, "Oh, I would have did this. I definitely wouldn't have talked to her no more." Why? It was a misunderstanding.
Right.
And for me to see a negative action, for using your example, if I had that friend that now they're in a bad relationship and they're putting out all of the negative things about my relationship, and I talk to them and I say, "Hey, I noticed that you're bringing this up now that you're in a bad situation." If my friend were to say to me, "Girl, things just really aren't going well for me right now, and honestly, I'm just hurt." Okay, I understand. I get it, And from there, we move on, and things end up being kind of back how they were. I wouldn't write that person off as they were never my friend to begin with, because I don't believe that. I believe that sometimes you do things out of anger and out of hurt that you don't really mean. And if I never say anything to you, then it just continues to go on. And whatever thoughts I have in my mind about how you was moving continues to build up. If I say something to you and give you an opportunity to be like, "Damn, you right, my bad," then it doesn't build anymore. And we can kind of go from there and continue like having that genuine friendship. Or it may force one of us to grow in friendship.
I mean, that's true. That's true too. I maybe I just need to do some more maturing in that area. But I'm serious, because I feel like, if there's something that it just reminds me of, like, how the fame, like, if let's say you're a famous person and you're making all the money and everything is good and everybody's like, "Oh yes, you should," the yeses, and then when something happens and they're like, "Oh well, I'm gonna go." I saw that spiral already, and I'm rolling out. And then when you get back on time, "Oh, what's up, girl? What you been? How things been going on?" You weren't never really my friend, because you was only...
You're an opportunist.
Right. You were there when things were good. Or you were there when things were good with you, because that happens too. When you and your friend, y'all good and everything's good, everybody going to brunch and having a good time, then they fall bad on their luck and they're like, "It seems like you always getting this. You think you better because you all..." And I'm like, well, when did this changed to, "I think I'm better than you," when we were just doing the same thing a month or two ago?
Right.
Now that you fell on hard times, I'm a problem.
Yeah. When you had money to brunch, it was cool. Now that you don't have money to brunch, you talking about, "All I want to do is go out to eat."
I've been eating.
And you was eating with
You
me
was there
when
with
you
me.
had it.
When all of a sudden we become problem. Why is this now problematic?
But look.
And that's
I feel like y'all probably know by now. Like, maybe I feel like I can be naive in this way, but I try to see the best in people. I would hope that I could go to that friend and say that, and say, "When we was brunching together, it wasn't an issue. Now I know you done fell on hard times and you don't have it like that, but I'm not going to brunch any less frequently than I did when we both had it. What's really going on, Kendra?" And if that friend couldn't say to me, "Sis, you right. I don't have it right now and I can't do it." If you said that, then I don't have no more reason to be mad at you, because people do stuff. Like, when you hurt and you act out of hurt, but it doesn't always reflect on how you've been this whole time.
And so this is the thing. I guess maybe I'm just a little bit more transparent in that space, but my friends would already know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When I was, and the moment I know, the people around me know. Like, when I was going through postpartum, and it's like, I'm doing stuff or saying things that's not my norm, or feeling a certain kind of way that's not like, I'm not feeling like myself. I don't know what's going on. I'm conscious of that.
Yeah.
Like, if something were to happen and I don't have it, like, "Girl, listen, I would love to go out with y'all, but I don't have it right now. I'm not happy right now." Whatever it is. Yeah. But as my friend, so me being able to be vulnerable with my friend, because now that's a real friendship.
Yep.
So when someone said, like in your example, when it's like, "Oh, I'm glad you checked me on that," there wouldn't even be anything to check.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because we've already, like, if you lost your job, "Girl, now things are going to be tight." And then me being your friend, if I'm saying, "Okay, we're going to brunch," you're like, "Well, girl, I don't really have it like that. Things tight this week because I said we going to brunch, be dressed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because that's the level of friendship that you all you all have. So I think sometimes we put titles on relationships that aren't deserving of them. And so we call a lot of people our friends, and they are a little bit more than associates.
I'm guilty of that.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of that.
And so, and I think going from, and this is a lot of stuff that we come from our generation of, everybody wants to have a friend. Everybody wants, and I'm cool. I'm at a point now, I'm cool with it being alone.
Yeah.
Or just having my family that I've created. And, but in my friendships, I try to show up in a way that I would want them to show up for me, right? And then knowing that I'm not with life, knowing that none of us are perfect, being able to say we ain't perfect, kind of thing. So, it all. I think it's just we all have to learn in these instances, and they are singular, right? Because sometimes you do have these, like someone's really, really sick and they don't want to put the burden, because you may be going through something. I don't want to put the burden on you. So there are times where that there isn't any maliciousness behind it.
Yes.
There's other times where I knew that I was kind of doing you dirty, but at that point, you was calling me friend, but I really wasn't trying. And some people don't know how to really be a friend too.
They don't. You
know, and so sometimes those are learning lessons. But sometimes I feel like I'm not the teacher for your lesson.
Yeah.
You might need to find another teacher.
I mean, like you have said before, friendships are also relationships. So however you show up in relationships, that applies to not just you and your significant other, but that applies to you and family. That applies to you and friends. That to me is a big indicator of the type of friend this person will be. Like, how are you showing up in other relationships? Because this is also a relationship.
So speaking of relationships, you threw this on in here about this man, this gentleman.
Oh yeah, we could do it.
Talking about, I know we running low on time, but I think this will be a quickie quick.
So today, I'm at the barbershop and I get a text message, and the text message says, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm at the barbershop, and they said, okay, well, how much is your haircut? I told them how much my haircut was, then all of a sudden they say, it's on me, and they Apple paid me, right? And, I thought about it, and it was my decision. I just sent the money back, and I said, listen, I don't require anything outside of the time spent, period. I don't need you to, I appreciate the gesture, but I don't need you to help me pay for my haircut. I don't, right? I wasn't trying to be disrespectful, and I was not trying to be rude. And so, some people was telling me in the barbershop that, no, you should not have sent it back. That's unappreciative. You should not have done that. Again, it wasn't my intention to be unappreciative. I just don't require people to pay for me to get things. And I don't require gifts from people to be in my good graces and to demonstrate to me that you are someone to be trusted and you're a real one amongst a world full of snakes and fake people, right? So I do appreciate the gesture, and I'm thankful for it. So even though I sent it back, doesn't mean I don't appreciate it. It just simply means that that's not, what I would want you here for. And that's just, I'm just not comfortable doing that. Like taking money from somebody for something like that. I'm not doing it.
So if you were the woman, how would you feel?
And reading some of the before I say how I feel, reading some of the comments under that, a lot of women were saying like, that's grown man business. Like, he's standing on grown man business. I kind of agree with that. And I also saw a few comments saying, well, maybe that's not his love language. I also agree with that. But the other thing that kind of stuck out for me is, and not to bring up Kevin Samuels, but I remember he would say this thing about how real men or alpha men, or however he was categorizing them, they are not looking for the same things that we're looking for as women. And so just what I got from it, just from his side of the story, she was maybe trying to do for him what as women, sometimes we want men to do for us, and it doesn't translate all the way. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, the stuff that we want them to do for us, they don't always want that in return. Yeah. In fact, it may have an adverse effect. He may feel like
a woman standing in her masculinity.
Yeah, or he may feel like, offended by it. Yeah. Like, what you mean you paying for my haircut? Like, I'm not, I ain't your bitch, you know? Right. Not to say it like that, because then that just assumes that if somebody's taking care of you financially, then that makes you like the weaker person. Right. So I'm not saying it like that, but I feel like that's how he took it. And I understand him taking it that way. I feel like everybody's different, because then we've talked about this, we have the guys out here that want to be bad bitches.
Okay.
And so
pay for my daycare. Pay for
so you may have some that would be cool with that.
The other dude was like, send me the money for my haircut. You want to take me out? You got to do all the things.
But also, this guy was I could just tell from the salt and pepper in his beard and kind of in his face, he looked like he was an older gentleman. Yeah. So it could also be a generational thing. Yeah. It could be just the men in his era. Yeah. They didn't move like that. Yeah. So I get it. Yeah. I don't think now if the woman was disrespected by getting the money back, or she felt disrespected by getting the money back, I feel like it may be a little bit of immaturity on her part. Like, if it was just something that he's like, I'm not into it, and he sent you the money back, sis, move on. Like, if you're really interested in him, try to find another way to do a nice gesture. I don't know. What do you think?
I think that you can do that later in your relationship.
It's too soon.
It's too soon.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you now, dating. In the beginning of our relationship, it wasn't a bunch of, like, he was very taken aback of any kind of, and I only did it because, like, if he says he's sick, and I went and got the Vicks Vapor Rub little thing, because I'm like, you're not going to do that. I'm going to do it because I'm a mom. So my thinking is something different. It's different, yeah. I'm never cash apping him any coins, though. Right. Like, I may go pick up something.
But can he cash app you coins in the beginning of dating?
I don't want someone to start something that they don't want to continue. And so my preference would be if it was like, well, what you got planned for the day? And I said, oh, well, we're going here, we're going to do this. And he's like, okay, well, I want to treat you. And so I'm going to send you, if I can't be there, I'm going to send you a couple dollars so that you can get, such and such. It would be nice to have the conversation first. Don't just send it to me, because then it kind of makes me feel like I'm obligated to something. Yeah. So, because I get that. He'll do that now where he'll be like, now the girls will ask, we going to the mall, you want to get some money? And I'm like, and he's like, when I had to get the truck done or stuff done, I'm very much so, I'm not going to ask for it till I really, really need it. And if I have it, don't worry about it. It's like, well, you need some money for, getting the brakes and stuff done. I was like, no, I'm it's cool. But now Jayla's birthday's come, the party came up, and he's like, I'm like, well, this is how much it is. And he sent me the money for the party. Like, this is for Jayla's party. Because it's a contribution to the household. Right. But I don't think I ever sent him any money. I'll buy stuff. Yeah. Because I'm already out. And at that point, it's what else you gonna do, right? Yeah. But it's not and he do his own grooming and all that kind of stuff, so I don't have to necessarily do that. So
same. I've only given my husband money like for occasions. Like, I've given him birthday money, Christmas money. I ain't I teased it. I did tease him one time because he was gonna shave off his beard. And I was like, no, I like it, don't shave it off. And he was like, it costs, when I go to the barbershop, it costs more to do the fade up and to do the beard. Like, when I don't have the beard, it's a little bit cheaper. I pay that beard. And so that's what it was. I was like, well, I put some more in it because I like the beard. Right. But even though I joked around and said that, he never asked me for the money. Like, Girl, I guess I probably should have gave it to him.
Right, here you go.
But he kept the beard, and he ain't never kind of come back to me and be like, yeah, so where my money? Right. So I've joked around, but it was just a joke. The joke was, I like the beard enough that I would pay. Right. I think he understood that, and he's like, well, let me keep it. I ain't gonna take your money, but I'm gonna just go ahead and keep it.
You might not pay with them dollars,
but you're gonna
pay with them cents.
Touche.
That's funny.
Well, that was good.
Yeah,
I think this was a good one.
I
had a good time.
I had a good time, y'all. We be having some. I think we've been trying to have some really good topics. Something to stoke the fires of thought.
Yeah.
For men and women.
And if you don't like it, send us some topics that you want to talk about.
I mean, and I know there's some things going on social media that we want out. Maybe in the next episode, that because we record these a little early. We're recording this one a little early because we have some things going on. But what's the man with the glasses and they had the gloves and he was like this?
Bernie Sanders.
Thank you. See, charades. Taboo. We out here. And he talking about some 32-hour work week. So it's stuff in social media that's going on. And they banning TikTok. It's a whole bunch of stuff. So we'll try to sprinkle some things in just on our thoughts and things that's happening in social media. But we try to make sure that we have topics that are thought-provoking and so that you can get some good commentary from us. And hopefully it's funny because I be saying stuff. But with all that being said, that wraps another amazing episode.
Yay.
So again, make sure you like, subscribe, put that notification bell on, and get down in them comments and talk to us. Tell us how you're enjoying this our banter that we're having. And with that being said,
I'll drink to that.
Amen to that.